Hi, my name is Scott Hummel. I'm Vice President of Government Affairs with the Michigan Association of Insurance Agents, and with us today we have Rick Snyder, Republican candidate for governor for Michigan in 2010. Rick, thanks for being here.
It's great to be with you.
Well, good.
I'm honored.
Good. Okay, first question. Rick Snyder, successful businessman, job creator in the private sector. Now you're looking to be in the public sector, which is a completely different animal. The legislature, the bureaucracy oftentimes can be adversarial. How are you going to take that same skill set and be successful in the public sector arena now?
Yeah, well, that's one reason I am running, because if you look at it, I believe Lansing's broken. We have a broken government. And people that are in that broken system would have a difficult time addressing those issues. So this is exactly the time we need someone from the private sector to come into this situation. And the way I view it is I'm not there to be the sole solution. I'm there to help lead a team and build a team of people. So the way I view it is we need a catalyst to show up in Lansing that's bringing real-world common-sense solutions and bringing real results and outcomes instead of the broken bureaucracy like you talked about. The model doesn't work when you talk about the budget system we have today and how we deploy resources. Right now, government spends billions of dollars on programs and activities. We wouldn't run our business that way. We don't run our household that way. We need to have a system where basically it's more transparent, more open, more certain in terms of a multi-year budget, and we show outcomes and results and continuous improvement. Just the very same things we've been doing in the private sector are transferable. It's a misnomer to say they're not. You drop the motive of profit, but just as you have in the private sector, in the public sector, there should be a requirement you show a return on investment to society or the citizens.
Right.
And that skill set does carry over. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Good. Sounds like it. This current administration, by all appearances, has been openly hostile to the insurance industry. And yet it's an industry that's been a bright spot in our economy over the last couple of years. It actually has been growing. The jobs are above average pay, well-paying jobs. How would you go about, if you were governor, how would you go about looking at the insurance industry, and would you do anything different?
Well, I absolutely would. And the insurance industry is an important member of our economy here. If you looked at the whole industry, I believe it's like 55,000 people employed in the industry, over 10,000 agents out there in the field doing work. So it's important. And again, if you go back and look at one of the things about being the traditional government versus the new model is we need to show customer service government. The role of government is to treat you, the citizen, like the customer. And as part of that, on the regulatory side, just as one illustration, the current model is people out of Lansing tend to treat people as if we're bad and should be controlled, not just in insurance, but so many fields. I hear it in agriculture and outdoor activities and other business activities, and that's backward. The average person and the average organization is a good, honest one trying to make a living. So my view is where regulation is merited or worthwhile, our goal should be how to help you win, how to comply, how to succeed, as opposed to the current model, which is to say how they're going to penalize you or even just as unfortunately use it as a backdoor revenue source. That's not good business. That's not how you let an economy grow and flourish. So my goal is to say, how do we turn it around to help you succeed?
Great, thank you. I appreciate those comments. Hey, the Michigan Supreme Court had just rendered a couple of decisions that are important to the insurance industry. One is the use of credit information when they determine insurance score, and the other is an overturning of the Kreiner decision from 2004, which sets some specific criteria for people to collect damages in pain and suffering situations with automobile accidents. One, are you familiar with those cases? And two, do you have any thoughts about them?
Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar. I'm still learning the industry.
Sure.
I mean, that's one of the challenges is there's a lot of fields to learn. But when I looked at it in terms of the basics, on the credit scoring issue, I mean, the insurance code outlined it, and the governor tried to put out a rule overturning that. That's not appropriate. So the court came to a good decision there. And then the overturning of Kreiner, I don't think that's a positive development at all. I mean, we put in a no-fault system some years ago to help manage costs where people could get their medical costs covered, to have an efficient system with less litigation. And the overturning of that court case kind of opens the door to get back to that pre-no-fault world, which was not a constructive one at all. So we should look at what can be done to put in a new set of rules or statutes to deal with this in a more effective fashion.
Okay, great. I know you're learning on the job here, or as you're campaigning. At this point, as you look at the insurance industry and you look at the Office of Financial and Insurance Regulation, would you have that department do anything different the way they're regulating the industry now?
Well, what I'm hearing from citizens when I'm out there talking to people is it's a hostile attitude. It's not been a very positive atmosphere at all. And that's not appropriate. Just as I said earlier, we need to change the attitude of Lansing to provide great customer service and appreciate most people are trying to do the right thing. So one model I'd look at is could they look at the same model we have with the Department of Agriculture? Because the Michigan Department of Agriculture has a very positive, constructive relationship with the ag community. They're also responsible, though, for critical things like safety and regulation that are merited, but they build a good working relationship. Shouldn't we be looking at a model like that for the insurance industry, where, again, because of consumer protection issues and doing prudent things, there is some reasonable degree of regulation, but can't we do it in a constructive partnership fashion, where everyone gets the right outcome, we do our work well, and we do it based on scientific and sound economic principles?
Sort of a win-win situation, right?
Yeah, best practice. I'm a big best practice.
Okay, the majority of our members are small business owners. The majority of the jobs created in this country and in the state are from small businesses. What is your plan as governor, or what would be your plan as governor to help those businesses succeed?
Yeah, well, small business in general, it's interesting that if you look at all our efforts in the state currently in economic development, it's far too much geared at attracting a few big out-of-state companies here with huge incentive packages. This hunting model, that's backwards. If you have a good business, or if you have a business that's under stress or in some ways, and you ask any business person, what do you do first? Rule number one is you always take care of your current customers. Your goal is to make your current customers the happiest, most successful people in the world before you worry about going to get new customers or clients. Well, I want to bring that attitude to government. So our focus is how do we help Michiganders create and grow small businesses and succeed? And a couple pieces of that. We've talked about the regulatory side, to simplify that and change the default setting to be more positive and help people win. The other one is the tax system. The Michigan business tax is the worst tax in the United States. I've simply proposed it should be eliminated and replaced with a flat 6% corporate income tax. Now, for most small businesses, their LLCs, their partnerships, their sole proprietorships, that would get rid of the tax entirely because it would be a C corporation tax. So the goal here is, right now we have a double layer of taxation that's a job killer. Let's get rid of that second layer of tax and let free enterprise work.
Right. Well, we appreciate that because a lot of our members did have some significant, or a significant impact from the MBT when it was instituted.
Yeah, well,
in the wrong direction.
Well, my comment is for when they put it in 2007, the only way I could describe it to a non-tax person, and I'm an old tax professional, I'm an old CPA, is it was just like Lansing going to the video store and renting Dumb and Dumber. It was absolutely crazy. It just needs to go away. And let's let business work.
Good. Okay, the voter walks into the voting booth in November of this year. They see your name on the ballot. What would you like them to be mindful of you as they look at their choice for governor?
Well, this is our one chance. This is a unique opportunity. We are in a crisis in this state. And it's time to change how we operate. We have a broken culture. And what I tell people is I ask them to look at three questions or three dimensions. The history of Michigan over the last few years has been far too negative. I want to be positive. Second dimension is we need to stop looking backward. Let's look forward. And the third dimension is we've been far too divisive. We've created most of these issues ourselves. Let's be inclusive. So to the degree people want to look to a bright Michigan future based on reinventing our state in a fundamental, structurally sound fashion based on not just thoughts, but a vision, plan, and action. Let's do it in a positive way, looking forward, and in an inclusive way. Because the only label that really matters in the end is Michiganders. So my goal long-term is to say it's Michiganders working and winning together to become a great state.
Good, great. Any final thoughts for the agents out there?
Well, I'm just proud to have the opportunity to have this dialogue. Because again, important citizens, members of our community, all the charitable and other civic operations people are doing as agents. I know there's a lot of good outreach. I've been through a lot of community events that agents have been critical to put on. And I really want to thank people for that because it's not about the government solving every issue for us, but it's about showing some real leadership to say, again, getting Michiganders to work and win together.
Right. Rick, thank you for your time. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.